What's up, everybody? It is Billy Briz, aka Ackett and Bills, back with another one of these videos again. NBA DFS video, right here on Pub Sports Radio. If you're looking for a book, use mybookie.ag, promo code Pub Sports Radio. I'm gonna hop right into this one because we got a big slate to break down real quick. Usually do these videos in the morning, but the way with this slate was setting up, definitely seems like an afternoon type of video type of thing, right before we get some 5:30 East Coast news. So we're just going to try to break this down in like 30 minutes. If you guys got some comments in chat, put them in the chat. Shouts to Big Show Picks for the background. Absolutely flames, man. Turned out better than I thought it would. But let's hop right into this one because Orlando is 6-point favorites against Cleveland. I'm going to go over my Orlando player pool right now. Right now, the big news I'm waiting for Orlando is Evan Fournier. If Evan Fournier is out, that's going to bump up a couple more minutes in usage rating and my fantasy point projection for Nikolai Vucevic, but he's already in my player pool, one of my favorite centers of the day. If you're not paying up for Joel Embiid, I definitely feel like Nikolai Vucevic seems like a pretty safe cash game option so far, especially over there on FanDuel where you got to play one center. Also, Markelle Fultz is popping, but not for me today. I like some point guards pretty deep today, and I think we'll get some value as news breaks. So I'm not really into Markelle Fultz as I used to be for this slate. Also, if Evan Fournier is out, I'm definitely going to add in Terrence Ross. He did me well last time. Even though shooting guard's pretty deep today, I definitely think Terrence Ross is going to come in under 10%. So if Terrence Ross is under 10% and Evan Fournier is out, he turns to be a pretty good GPP option in my opinion. Also, Cole Anthony's popping, but I think we'll get some better point guard value as I'll talk about some other games. Cleveland, Kevin Love is going to be out. Also, a lot more injuries. Darius Garland is going to be out. And I think I'm forgetting one more guy. Dante Exum, that's the guy I'm forgetting. So Damian Dotson looks like the best point per dollar play for this team, but I don't know if I want to go there. Andre Drummond on paper makes sense, but, man, he's been burning me, and he's starting to piss me off a little bit because everything on paper seems like it should work for Andre Drummond. His rebound rates go up and his usage rating goes up with Kevin Love off the floor, but this coaching staff seems not so committed in playing Andre Drummond the full onslaught of amount of minutes, maybe because he's in the contract year. He's a free agent also this summer. So, that's how that goes with Andre Drummond. So I don't know if he's that safe. I don't know how to really project his minutes so far. So I'm looking into that after I get done this video. Also, Colin Sexton seems like a good play today, even though his assist rating, I thought his assist rating would come up a little bit more with Darius Garland off the floor. Maybe he's just not a facilitator that I think he is, but I think he's a good play today, $7,100 over there on FanDuel. Definitely should be in your player pool today. Also, Cedi Osman could be an interesting option. I think small forward, I'm going to pay up a little bit. Especially over there on FanDuel, I have a very short small forward pool today. So I don't know how much Cedi Osman I'm going to get to today. Also, Larry Nance seems like a pretty good point per dollar play, but I don't know if I want to go there with Isaac Okoro, the rookie coming back. Right before he left with his injury, he was playing a lot of minutes in the preseason, also the first two games of the season. So I don't know how safe Larry Nance is going to be today. But let's go over to this Indiana Pacers and Rockets game. The Pacers are 2-point favorites here. This seems like a pretty good fantasy game right here to pick some spots. I love DeMonte Sabonis today, $8,800 over here on FanDuel. Seems like a very, very good play today. One of the safer stud options in my personal opinion on this slate. I feel like his price tag is the same exact as Nikolai Vucevic, but DeMonte Sabonis is going to give you a triple-double upside. Also, small forward, as usual, kind of ugly once you start getting into the cheap range. So a guy like Justin Holiday is popping for me today. But I don't know if I'm going to go there for my cash game, my single entry builds, because I think we'll get some value out of that Clippers game. We'll talk about that one way later on in the slate. But Yeah, that's really what I'm looking at for the Pacers. I kind of don't want to go to Malcolm Brogdon today. There's some point guards I really like on this slate, and Malcolm Brogdon is definitely not going to make the cut for me today, even though this seems like a good spot on paper. Houston Rockets for me, man, this team is a little bit weird with everybody being healthy. I still want to see a little bit more out of everybody, but obviously if James Harden is going to go overlooked on how big of a slate today is, I'm definitely going to give James Harden a look, depending on how some slate news breaks out. I don't know if I want to play him because of I feel like the volatility of just playing the 7 o'clock game is just going to bite you in the butt because that Clippers news is going to be so big. I kind of want to pick players in the later games just so I can afford myself a little bit more time. Because I don't know what the Clippers are going to be doing today. Let's go over to Philly and Washington. Oh, man, Washington, I'm glad this game is in Philadelphia because if this game was in Washington, I think this game would be canceled. How crazy this day has been in Washington, D.C. But, we're here to talk about basketball, so we're going to talk about basketball. 76ers are 6.5-point favorites against the Washington Wizards here. For me, I'm going to go with the big three from the Sixers. I can't believe I'm saying the big three and not going to include Tobias Harris in the big three. That's just a Sixer homerism in me. I like Joel Embiid today, $9,900. Seems like a good price tag. He should absolutely smash in this spot. As long as this game doesn't blow out, Joel Embiid should be one of the better center pay-up options on today's slate. Also, Ben Simmons, maybe if I haven't really one to look at too much ownership because of that Clippers news and stuff like that. But if let's say Curry becomes chalky because I think that's a national television game, and I'm looking to pay up for a point guard, I wouldn't mind Ben Simmons today, even if you're playing cash games or GPPs today. I wouldn't want to play Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons in the same exact lineup, but I feel like one of those two should have a ceiling game here. Ben Simmons, since Mike Scott's been out, has been playing to back up 4. So his rebounding numbers have been absolutely going up these last couple of weeks. So I'm liking me some Ben Simmons today. $8,700. I feel like that's a pretty good price tag. I feel like over there on Fanduel, especially, he can contribute in a lot of different categories and doesn't have to be so scoring reliant. Also, if I was looking for somebody on the Sixers, it would be Seth Curry. $5,200, and I think $5,400 over there on DK. Seth Curry's been pretty safe so far without Furkan Korkmaz in the lineup. Seth Curry's been absolutely balling, seeing about 30 minutes per game. My projection for him in this game is 32 minutes in a pretty good spot. He should be shooting the ball, and he'll come in at pretty low ownership. I think Seth Curry's pretty safe for today's slate. I wouldn't put him in a cash game lineup, though, because I don't think his ownership is that high to be cash game viable. But let's go over to Washington Wizards. I do like Russell Westbrook, $10,700. I don't know how much Russell Westbrook I'm going to get to with some of the Clippers news. I keep on referring to the Clippers news. We're really going to talk about that later on. Just seeing if we can get just a little bit more news over there, because that really determines my plays on this slate overall in general. I do like Russell Westbrook. I don't like this spot for Thomas Bryant. I'm not really too high on anybody else on this Washington Wizards side. I don't think this is a stackable type of game. I know the over-under is 231.5, and that is the third highest on the board today. But I'd rather stack that Charlotte Hornets Atlanta game with some low-owned pieces, and then also the Clippers and Warriors game, the one that I think is going to be primetime television, and also the Chicago-Sacramento game seems pretty stackable also as well. Miami, for me, definitely not liking anybody from this team, especially if Paul George is out today and Kawhi is going to play and give it a go and play his first back-to-back in God knows how long. I definitely think Paul George is out because of that. But as I digress a little bit, I don't know if I want to just cross this game off of my GPP slate or just add the couple Boston guys that I like. If you're playing over there on DraftKings, definitely Kelly Olynyk at $4,400 definitely is viable on today's slate. On the Miami side, not the Miami side, the Boston side, definitely do like me some Jason Tatum today. Also, we got to really watch out for this Marcus Smart news. That's really going to decide if I get to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I'm kind of pissed that they switched to positions on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's listed as a shooting guard over there on FanDuel now, and Jason Tatum's listed as a small forward. Kind of annoying on this slate, but yeah, I do like Tatum and Brown. You can go to Tristan Thompson for value at the power forward position at $4,400. I'll be more inclined to play a guy like Nicholas Batum in the later games. Going over to Atlanta and Charlotte. Over-unders 232, very high over-under. Atlanta's 6-point favorites here in this spot. Hopefully this game can stay close and we get some fancy value out of this game. My favorite pieces from the Atlanta side is going to be Trae Young, $9,400, even though he isn't popping in projection systems. I kind of like that. I like playing a low-owned Trae Young. Played him in that last game against the New York Knicks. Seemed like a perfect spot. He smashed for over 50 fantasy points. So I definitely want to go back down the well here against the Charlotte Hornets, who I'm not really high on their defense too much. Also at the top, as you can see, Clint Capella and John Collins are looking like good plays. Also, Kevin Huerter is there at $4,500. I kind of like Kevin Huerter if Bogdanovich is going to be out, but if he's in, then I'm probably going to bump down the minutes on Kevin Huerter a little bit more. But I do like some of the pieces in this game. I think this could be a low-owned, stackable East Coast game. Go over to the Hornets side. Who would I bring it back with? Me personally, I'm going to get a little bit ugly today. I like me some P.J. Washington. I think this is a good P.J. Washington spot. The last two games that we've seen him play, he had to go up against like Joel Embiid, Dwight Howard, and stuff like that. So that wasn't really good spots for him. I can definitely see Bismack Biyombo minutes not being as high in this one, and P.J. Washington like closing out the game at the 5. So I'm definitely going to throw in P.J. Washington if I'm stacking this game. I know LaMelo Ball's popping up for a lot of people today and is gaining a lot more ownership than I thought, but that's too high price of a price tag for me for a backup point guard. I know he's getting starters minutes, but I don't know if I'm going to go to LaMelo Ball at $6,900 on an 11-game slate. I would like to spend my money somewhere else today. Gordon Hayward's been hit or miss, but I don't want to go there. My favorite player from this game would be P.J. Washington if I had to run it back with a Hornet. I think the Knicks game here, the Knickerbockers, 7-point dogs here against the Utah's Jazz. Over-unders 215 here. The Knicks seem pretty safe for fantasy, a team that you definitely want to attack for fantasy because Tom Thibodeau is playing everybody a pretty safe amount of minutes so far. Especially with Alec Burks being out and stuff like that, you can kind of go to some of these fringy wing and guard options. Depending on if Reggie Bullock is out or not, we'll decide if I get real ugly with the Knicks. Definitely some news that we need to watch out for at 5:30 for the Knicks here. But my favorite plays from this team is definitely going to be R.J. Barrett, $6,500 and $7,000 over there on DK. R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle are both blowout proof. And I also will respect Mitchell Robinson. I definitely think over there on FanDuel, he can get a couple blocks, a couple steals, and definitely pay off that price tag at $5,500. The Knicks do seem like one of the teams I want to just mini stack because I don't really want to run it back with any Jazz guys on this slate. I'll pull up the Jazz team here. The best guy that's really popping for me is Royce O'Neal, but on the screen you'll probably see Rudy Gobert. I think he's a good point per dollar play, but I'd rather just pay up for Nikolai Vucevic and $500 somewhere else. But let's go over to this Milwaukee and Detroit game. Pretty wide spread here. Hopefully Detroit can kind of keep this game close. Some news to digest over there on the Detroit side, but I don't think it's pretty relevant on this 11-game slate. But over here on the Milwaukee side, I mean, Giannis is going to obviously pop, but $11,400 seems pretty expensive considering just closer games on this slate. Especially with that Clippers news, I'd rather go to Kawhi or somebody like that, but that's not the same position at power forward on FanDuel. I'd rather play Sabonis than Giannis. That's probably going to be where I'm going to go in cash games, depending on where Giannis's ownership really is. But he's been smashing in the short amount of time that he has been playing in. Typical Giannis, definitely one of the best fantasy point per minute players in the league. Other than that, though, nobody else is really popping for me on this Milwaukee side. If you do think this game is going to blow out, use some Bobby Portis today. Especially him listed at power forward over here on FanDuel. Detroit, man, I don't really want to play any of the Detroit guys. I know DeLon Wright should get the start here, but he's still not even popping for me. I don't think we need to go to Sadiq Bey because Blake is back here. Derrick Rose would probably be my favorite Detroit Piston. I'm just going to keep the Detroit Pistons pretty short because I don't want to play anybody from this team. Let me head over to the chat while I pull up some other stuff. What up, Bloodthirsty MMA? Glad to see you in here, man. 5 o'clock start for this show. Definitely a different type of start. Usually a morning type of show, in my opinion. But with this slate, we're going to switch it up. And also, I just got this new iPhone I had to get from Verizon today. So definitely had to take care of some priorities before we dived into the slate. And I didn't want to unprepare you guys for this one. But let's go over to New Orleans and OKC. I do like Zion Williamson today, $7,900. Seems like a pretty reasonable price tag. Zion, I kind of like him over the sandwich of like players that he's with, like Pascal Siakam and stuff like that. I do like Zion today. I definitely think he's GPP viable. Eric Bledsoe has a pretty good price tag. Josh Hart's been playing pretty good basketball. Brandon Ingram also as well at the small forward position if you want to pay up. Seems like a viable option also as well. Let's go over to the OKC side. The OKC Thunder, as you can see, Al Horford's the one that's popping up the most. But if I had to pick an OKC guy, I would probably pick Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, $7,500. His price tag has finally came down a little bit, and he's definitely GPP viable if you want to go with a one-off here in this game. Let's go over to Phoenix and Toronto. My fault for going a little bit fast through this. I want to get this done before 5:30 because I feel like that East Coast news is definitely going to be important for this slate here today. But let's go over to Phoenix and Toronto here. Phoenix, not really too much popping for me today. If I did have to pick a guy, it would definitely be DeAndre Ayton and pay at the center position. I feel like DeAndre Ayton's going to go pretty low today, and maybe he can do something against the Toronto front court. Maybe some fantasy owners still think this is a bad matchup for teams, but Toronto just isn't that good of a defensive team in my eyes anymore when it comes to the eye test of teams and stuff like that. But Jay Crowder is also a pretty good point per dollar player. If we don't get the Clippers value, I can definitely see myself swapping to like Jay Crowder if things don't go the way I think it's going to go today. But Toronto, nothing's really popping for me here for this team. If I had to pick a guy, it would definitely be Fred VanVleet at $8,000. I know he isn't popping up as the best point per dollar play, but he did me well in that last game. And I feel like he's the most consistent Toronto Raptor option. This team isn't what it used to be anymore, man. But one of my favorite games of the night, though, is Sacramento and Chicago. Definitely a game that I can see some fantasy owners overlooking, but maybe not when I check some ownership when I get done this video. Buddy Hield, though, pretty good price tag over here on FD. And I wouldn't play him over on DK. I feel like he's a little bit too expensive. But De'Aaron Fox, Rashawn Holmes, you know what to do here. Those are the big three that I really want to play from Sacramento. Also think Marvin Bagley's price tag is a little bit cheap today on FanDuel, but I think that's more of like a 20 max type of thing, not if you're playing like single entries, 3 max or 5 max or something like that. Or even just playing cash games. I don't think I want to go there. But Chicago, a lot of these guys are popping for me. I do like Otto Porter again, $5,600. They still haven't raised his price tag high enough where I feel like he's going to absolutely burn you with his floor. Thaddeus Young could be interesting today. But the cover boy of this video, Kobe White, that is where I'm going to go with my conviction play of the day today. Pull it up. Has been ultra consistent so far with all those injuries so far. Absolutely smashed in these last couple of games. 38 fantasy points last night against the Blazers, and then right before that, 33.4 points against the Mavericks on January the 3rd. I feel like a lot of people are going to go overlook Kobe White, but as you can see right here, as we're pulling up this optimizer on dailyfantasyfield.com, free optimizer to use if you're just playing single entries and cash games and you don't want to pay for something like that. You can put your own projections in there and stuff like that. Usually that's what I like to do if I'm playing single entries and cash games. But yeah, this is a good spot here for Kobe White. He's been ultra consistent. One of my favorite plays of the day, $6,200. Man, this is the game of the slate. I think this is a primetime television game on ESPN or TNT tonight, one of the two channels. Stephen Curry, definitely stackable game right here. Stephen Curry, $10,000. Kind of expensive, in my opinion. I think you can go somewhere else, but I do like Stephen Curry tonight. $10,000 seems like a pretty safe option in a primetime television spot here. Kelly Oubre also $5,300. If you want to stack this game, I definitely like me some Kelly Oubre over Andrew Wiggins. And James Wiseman, also pretty cheap price tag, but I don't know if I want to waste my center spot today on Fanduel or DraftKings on James Wiseman. But I will give him his respects at that price tag. Also, the Los Angeles Clippers. This is the big one that we're waiting for today. We got a little bit of injury news right before I did this video that I think Paul George is questionable. Kawhi is off the injury report. And this is the first time Kawhi has played a back-to-back in God knows how long. That I can't even tell you how long he hasn't played a back-to-back in. But that leads me to believe that Paul George is out and Kawhi is in. And maybe if both of them are out, it'd be a different story, and we really load up on the value options on this team. But as you can see here, Nicholas Batum, definitely going to be one guy that you want to plug into your lineups. If one of those guys are out, Nicholas Batum definitely is going to pop. He's just been really don't think of Nicholas Batum as think of him like Portland Blazers Nicholas Batum, not the Hornets Nicholas Batum. You know what I'm saying? The Blazers Nicholas Batum, that was actually a good NBA basketball player. Also, Patrick Beverley has a pretty good price tag at $3,800. Seems like he would get pretty safe amount of minutes. He crushed in that spot last night. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to as much Lou Williams as I wanted to because of FanDuel's non-multi-positional eligibility. I got to Luke Kennard, but man, he paid off this price tag, $3,900. I think even though he's just a cardio guy, I feel like he could play 35 minutes here or 33 minutes here in this spot if certain injury news breaks. And Luke Kennard could be a low-owned GPP option. I played him in GPPs last night and got him under 10% with all that late swap news. And everybody was just loading up on Lou Williams. I definitely think Luke Kennard could be a viable option. But you definitely want to stay on top of the news for this slate because this one is going to be very injuries news dependent. Haven't even really started building lineup so far today because of the injury news and stuff like that. I definitely want to see how some of the things work out today. But overall, that's really what my player pool is looking like so far. Pretty quick video today. My fault for doing this one a little bit later. The rest of them are probably going to be in the mornings and stuff like that. And we're going to try to bring on some guests for next week also as well. Give you guys a different perspective on this fantasy crazy game that we play every day. But if you're looking for a player prop website that is different a little bit from the sports books, use Thrive Fantasy and use promo code PubSportsRadio. And when you sign up today, you'll receive an instant deposit match up to $50 on your first deposit or $20 or more. And also, if you're looking for a book, use mybookie.ag, promo code PubSportsRadio for a 50% bonus on your cash deposit. Must be a minimum of $99 and 100% bonus on Bitcoin deposit minimum of $100.